So welcome to this week's workout. This week I thought we're gonna tackle what's called your core and your abdominal strength and shoulder stability. And for this, I wanted to discuss a few things up front. So for the moment, maybe just sit down on the yoga mat and have a listen just for 2-3 minutes. So when people talk about the core, they usually have not quite a good idea of what that is. I'll describe it as a muscular system that wraps around your belly like a corset, hence the name. So it doesn't run like your longitudinal abs, it runs across from the back all the way to the front. And then it's also helped by your diaphragm that's regulating your breathing from the top and your pelvic floor underneath. Now, as you're sitting, I want you to start feeling with both of your hands for your pelvic bones. So there should be some protrusions on the top of your thigh. And from here, you're going to draw an imaginary line towards your belly button, just as you see. On this line, you just go maybe 1/3 towards your belly button, and you press in those two spots, maybe with 1 or 2 fingers, but you're going to press quite hard. Now, this gives you an opportunity to feel for some of those core muscles. As a little example, I'd ask everyone to just make a little cough, like just going like, and you should feel that there are some muscles engaging or popping your fingers to the outside. So as you press in and you cough, you should feel that your fingers are pressed to the outside. At the same time, when you activate your core, should get a feeling that your belly button draws a bit in and up. So that's the abdominal part. Now, when you think of it, your abdomen like a ketchup bottle, when you squeeze it all around here, you always want to make sure that you put the lid on, and that's your pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor is quite complicated in terms of its setup, but generally there's a front that controls your urinary sphincter, then some parts that are related to your genitals, and then some parts that are related to your anus. So when you activate your core muscles, what you want to get a feeling for is that your belly button draws in and up, and you can always check with those fingers here whether this area here gets a little bit harder. Now, for the pelvic floor to activate that, you can imagine to just stopping to pee for the front part. And then if you're a woman, you might want to use what's called your vaginal elevator. So you're going to imagine that you draw your vagina upwards. And if you're a man, you might think of trying to lift your testicles as high as you can. And then for the backside, you try to lift your anus up as high as you can. Now give that a try. Put your hands again onto your pelvic bones. Go a little bit towards your belly button. Press in, and then just see if you can voluntarily fill that gap between your pelvic bone and your main abdominal muscles. If you're not quite sure, again, just cough a little bit like, or you can also laugh and you'll see which muscles you should be using. Now, those muscles in general, they are not responsible for movement. So that's why people say it's core stability. So they're stabilizing your lower back and your abdomen during movements. One little example that I demonstrate before we start is what many people do, a leg raise. So when you lie on your back, I'll put my arms so you can see me. Many people, as they raise the leg, what's happening is as they raise the leg, first of all, you start arching with your back and your belly goes up, and there is a gap between those pelvic bones and your abdominal muscles. This has 2 reasons. One reason is as you lift the leg, your abdominals are not strong enough to pull your abdomen in, and your belly button lifts because you're not using that core muscle that wraps around in your pelvic floor. So whenever you start abdominal exercises, put your hand onto your pelvic bone, go in a little bit, and then you want to engage those muscles. So rather than lifting and letting your lower back arch and your belly come out, you want to engage those muscles. And as you lift, your belly stays in and your lower back stays as it is. Many people overcompensate, so they are told to push the lower back down, but that doesn't really reflect the principle of stability. Just keep it in the place as you started. Also, what you see lots is people putting their hands underneath the back to support it, which is okay because it reduces the load on the back. But when you do the exercise like this, all that you do is you're going to work your straight leg flexors and your straight abs. You're not taking care of the stability. So rather, if you have to put the arms like this to do a leg raise, I would say bend your knees and do a leg raise without the arms, again, engaging your core muscles. And that will be your task for this session. Whenever I tell you to engage your core, which is throughout the most of the session, you want to have your belly button in and up, pelvic floor active as well. And I hope that made sense for everyone. So we'll start the real class in standing. Come and join me, standing nice and tall. And we're already going to practice how you squeeze those muscles with an abdominal roll down. Again, put your hands on your pelvic bone, go a little bit further in. Take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, engage your core muscles that will press against your fingers, but without changing the shape of your spine. Then still having those muscles on, breathing in and out breath. Tuck your chin towards your chest, around your upper back, your mid back, your lower back, your pelvis. Let your fingers fall to the front and go as low as you can for your first roll down. In this position, I still want you to check with your hands from your pelvic bones towards your abdominals. If it's soft there, you're not using your core and your pelvic floor, so make sure you can squeeze this. Again, cough if necessary. Now breathe in there and out breath. Stack your hips, your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, your shoulders. Look a little bit up towards the ceiling. Open your chest, breathing in and out breath. Tuck your chin towards your chest, mid back, lower back, hips. Maybe reach a little bit further down and then before. Breathe in there and out breath. Roll a little bit further to the front. Then breathe in and out breath. Slowly stack your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, your shoulders. Pull your shoulder blades down and out, chest to the front. Breathing in and out breath. Segmentally roll to the front again. Again, check in with your core muscles in this position. Then engage your core a little bit more. Breathe in and out breath. Go with your hands over to the right as far as you can comfortably take that. And then you're going to start a twisted roll up. Breathing in and out breath. Slowly leading with your left shoulder, stacking your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, your shoulders. Stand up nice and tall. Right arm reaches up. Left arm slides down the left side of your body. Put both arms diagonally to the front on the left. Swing through the middle and roll up. Again, open the chest for the in-breath and out-breath. Slowly roll to the front, engaging your core. Stay here, breathe in and out-breath. Shift over rotation to the left as far as you feel comfortable and do a twisted roll up with your right shoulder leading, stacking your lower back, mid back, upper back. Standing straight, left arm raises up, right arm reaches down, both arms diagonally to the front, swing to the middle and slowly roll up. And we do one more to each side. Breathe in, out, breath, roll down. Breathe in, out, breath, rotate to the right. Breathe in, out, breath, roll all the way up. Stacking your head, right arm raises up, left arm goes down. Go into a side bend, swing to the front diagonally and roll up into the middle. And we'll even you out to the other side as well. So you breathe in and out breath, roll to the front. One vertebra at a time. Lowest position, breathe in, Out breath, twist over to the left as far as you can. And there, hold it for the in-breath. And out breath, roll up sideways, leading with your right shoulder. Stack everything on top. Left arm reaches up, right arm into a side bend. Both arms diagonal to the front on the right, swing to the middle, and roll up into standing. And then today we also work a bit on your shoulder. So we're going to start by working a bit on shoulder control, which is just some isolated movement and shoulder positioning that everybody should be familiar with. So you're standing nice and tall, core on, arms in a V shape. Then you can follow me or watch the first repetition. You slowly raise your arms to the side, but without letting your shoulders rise. So don't let them come up, keep them down. When you're at about shoulder level, you fold the arm in, and then keeping the upper arm parallel to the floor, you do a shoulder shrug, shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears, and then keeping your elbows horizontal. You're going to push your shoulder blade down and out, open the arms, and bring them together in the front again. We'll do a few repetitions. So arms in a V shape, raise them up to the side without letting your shoulders raise. Fold, bend the elbows, raise the shoulders up, push them down and out. Open the elbows and come down. 3 more to go. Lifting up sideways, bending the elbow, raising the shoulders and pushing them down and out. That's what we call setting the shoulders. And fold in the front again. 2 more to go. Raise up sideways, fold the elbow, shoulder shrug, shoulders down and out, open the arms, and in the front, last one. Quite good control, raising them up sideways, folding the arms in, raising your shoulders, and really pushing them down. Just to get you familiar with this movement, stay here and push your shoulders up and down, but don't swing your elbows, they keep as they are. Just your whole shoulder girdle pushes up and down, and up, and down. 2 more, up and down. Last one, up and down. And that's the position you want to keep your shoulder in with most exercises. Fold them up and slowly roll down to the floor. Once you touch the floor, bend your knees and come into a seated position on your heels. From here, you're going to just reach your arms to the front as far as you can, also known as child's pose. And this can be your resting position when some of the tougher abdominal exercises require you to take a breath or a breather. You can always modify by walking the hands over to the right to open up the left side, rotating through the left side or the right side, or walking all the way over to the left, rotating to the right side or rotating to the left side. Then meet me in the middle again and come up onto all fours. From here, all fours position. This time, you don't want to have your wrist and your shoulders stacked. You want to have your arms a little bit further to the front, and you're going to lean a bit to the front as well. First thing, set your shoulders in this position, so don't let your shoulders hang through. Push them nice and high, and we're going to start mobilizing the spine. So you breathe in, tilting your sit bones up and your head up. And you breathe out, tuck your chin towards your chest and lift your center. Breathing in, looking up towards the ceiling, bending your spine backwards and out breath. Chin towards your chest and make a nice high back. 1 more, looking up and looking down. From here, we add that you're going to go from this position, still holding your pelvis up, using your abdominals to really round your back. You're going to drop down onto your elbows. You'll feel a few of your shoulder girdle muscles activate as well. From this position, look up and tilt your sit bones upwards as you push your elbows straight again. So you end up in the normal position. As you curl up, you bend your elbows, raise your abdominals and pelvic floor, and curl your back. And push through, lifting up. 2 more. Bend your elbows, let them touch the ground, and push yourself into back extension. Perfect. Then walk your hands a little bit closer and find the middle position between what's called your cat and your cow. So you're neither tucked under nor arching your back. And from this position, you want to put all your weight on your left hand and on your right knee. And you're going to raise your left leg and your right arm. Again, make sure that your core is on and that you're not hanging through from the shoulder or your lower back. So probably don't reach as high as you're used to from other exercise classes. And come together, elbow and knee, and reach apart. We're going to do 10. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides, hold the weight on your right arm and your left knee, and pushing your shoulders up, elbow and knee together, and send them apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then from all fours, tuck your toes under and lift your knees off the floor just a few centimeters. Hold it there, engaging your core and being strong through your shoulder. Just to get you used to pushing through your shoulders 10 times. You're going to let the shoulder blades sink, or the spine between the shoulder blades, and push through. 1, 2. You call those shoulder blade push-ups because your elbow stays straight and you're just controlling your shoulder movements. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And slowly push through into your first downward dog. Try to first walk your knees out a little bit, stretching your heel towards the ground, and then also lifting your sit bone high into the air and trying to flatten out your spine. Again, walk your feet a little bit, pressing through your shoulders. And we'll start shifting a few times between a normal plank to the front and a downward dog. Try to make that movement from your abdominals and a little bit from your shoulders, but really squeeze your abdominals to lift up high. So front and downward dog and plank and downward dog. If you're still with me, hold your dog and we shift to the right and to the left. Otherwise, child pose is always available for you. So let your left hip drop down, going onto the outside of your foot, as low as you can. And then go to the right, let it drop. And go to the left. And lift up. And go to the right again. 2 more each side. left and down, right and down, left and down, and right and down. Good. Now, we also work a bit on shoulder stability, so stay in your plank. So in this position, look at my feet. All you want to do is you go onto tiptoes to press yourself to the front and come back. Tiptoes to the front and back. Tiptoes to the front and back. Tiptoes to the front and back. Stretch all the way through into downward facing dog. And get used to breathing while you engage your core muscles. Many people try to hold the breath when the core is on. So this is a perfect position to really start working on your core and keeping your breathing going. Then push to the front into a plank. Go onto your tiptoes. Again, propelling yourself to the front. And slowly lower yourself down onto the floor so that you're lying on your front, and will wake up your back muscles a little bit. So lie on your forehead, tuck your pelvis under, raise your shoulders, push them down and out, and then go into your first back bend, lifting the head, sliding your shoulder blades down, maybe reach a bit from side to side, but make sure that your belly button is still off the ground. And we'll do that again. Just lower yourself and set your shoulders, lift your head, chin stays tucked towards your chest, lift your belly button up and go into back bend. Reaching right and left a little bit. Last one, lower yourself down and lift your shoulders, slide them down. Slide your head down and backwards and hold there. If you want to make it a bit more difficult, put your arms into a V shape to the front. And when you're here, you're just giving it 20 pulses with your shoulders. Now, this is similar to the position that we used to in the beginning. So make sure that your shoulders are far away from your ears. Don't let your shoulders shrug up to the ears. And another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then put your arms into a T shape, set your shoulders, and another 20 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then put your hands next to your lower rib cage. Stay with your feet as they are. And push yourself to the front and go into a back bend. Hold it there, still tucking your pelvis in. And walk back into downward facing dog. Now sit down, go into child's pose as we prepare for the first abdominal workout of this session. Now, lift yourself up into a plank position. From here, shoulders strong, core on. Lift the right leg, turn it to the outside and touch your right knee towards your right elbow. But look at the rear foot, it's propelling me forward and you want to round your chest. Then go back. Propel yourself forward, knee towards chest, press back, propel yourself forwards, right knee touches your left elbow to the front, and back. Then you put all your weight through your right shoulder and your left leg, and you push your right leg through into a side fold, arm up if necessary, put the leg down, but try to hold it. From here, your left hand slides down. You go into a downward dog and you separate the left arm down. And we do a few side openings into side plank. So from here, left arm reaches up and high. Even go a little bit further than normal, but careful. And lift from your abdominals, belly high, threading through 5 times. Lifting up, opening up your chest, threading through, using your abdominals. Lifting up, opening up your chest, threading through, using the abdominals. 2 more. Lift up and go down. Lift up and thread through. Meet me in side plank, and we'll do just 3 hip dips to warm up your side. So let your right pelvis go down without touching the floor, and lift up. 1, by all means, do that on your elbow if you feel better with that too. And 3, put the arm down, meet me in downward dog. Then raise the right leg, step it to the front next to your right foot, and you go into a high lunge, raising your arms, walking your foot a bit further to the front, really opening up your hips, but still having your pelvic floor and abdominal muscles on. Then frame your foot, arms down, raise the right leg backwards, stay on one leg if you can, propel yourself to the front, 1 push up, still on one leg, propel yourself to the front, go into forward dive with a back bend, and meet me in downward facing dog. From here, raise the left leg, then turn it out so that your left knee touches your left elbow, propelling yourself to the front. Come back, knee towards your chest, push to the front and back, and left knee towards right elbow, push into the front and back, then all the weight on your left arm and your right foot, threading the leg through and holding it up in here. Then put the leg down, go into downward dog on your left arm and thread through to the left with your right arm. Open up your chest and thread through 5 times. 1, open up and thread through. 2, open up, thread through. 4, open up, thread through. 5, meet me in side plank, arm up, and we're going to do 3 hip dips, left hip dips down without touching, and raise up again. 1 and 2 and 3. Lift up, go into downward dog, hold it there, raise your left leg up and step it to the front as far as you can. Adjust your stance if needed and raise up into a high lunge, opening up your right pelvis. So try to lunge a bit deeper, raise your shoulders a bit higher, your fingers a bit higher, shoulders stay broadened down, and hold there for a few breaths. Then frame your foot. If you can, stay on one leg, put the left leg to the back, 1 push-up on one leg, 1 dive to the front with a back bend, and meet me in downward facing dog. From here, slowly start walking your feet towards your hands, bend your knees as much as needed. Once you're in the front, just let yourself hang into a forward fold, bend your knees as much as you need to touch the floor. And slowly roll yourself up into standing. Raise your arms by your side and roll again to the front as far as you can. One more. Eventually roll up into standing. Raise your arms and roll to the front using your abdominals and your core muscles. From here, just bend your knees and you try to sit down onto the floor without using your hands. By all means, use them, but try to go into low squat and sit down. From here, we just meet in a seated position. Seated position can be, depending on your hamstring length, at 90 degrees with a flat back. I will have to lean backwards a little bit because my hamstrings are quite short, as you might have noticed. Now, from here, we are going into an abdominal roll down. Again, pelvic floor on, core muscles on. Check with your fingers if need be. And what you do is you tilt your pelvis so that you make your back into a C shape. And you start to lean backwards. Now, you want to really touch your lowest vertebra onto the floor, then the next, then the next, then the next, upper back, and your head. If you feel that your legs are coming off, that's because you're using your hip flexors rather than your core or your abdominals. So we do a few of those roll ups and roll downs. Sequentially, tuck your chin towards your chest. Raise your mid back, your lower back, and lift up. Reaching to the front, straightening up, and roll down again, curling your spine. Pushing your lower back down, your upper back, your mid back, then your upper back, and your head. And come up again, reaching to the front, really making a nice C shape with your back. Straighten up and roll down again. From your pelvis. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Two more. Raise your head, push your lower back down. Raise up, make sure your feet stay on the ground. Straighten up and roll down. That's very easy for you. Raise your head, put your hands behind your head and do the roll up and roll down with your hands behind your neck. Raise up, straighten up and slowly roll down, down, down. One more, chin towards the chest, raising up. Now we'll involve a little bit of rotation in this position. So you stay as you are. And what you do is you put both arms to the right next to your knee. You're making a nice C shape, and now you're rolling backwards, but slightly to the right. You're going to that point where you feel that your legs would lift off. Here you hold, make a nice circle with the arms, both towards your left. Slide backwards again, nice circle to the right, and keep going. Challenge yourself by going further and further. Lift up to the left, lean back, big circle to the right, lean back to the right, big circle to the left, lean back to the left, big circle to the right. One more. And front, left to the left, and meet me in the middle. Now, you're gonna put your hands behind your head, sitting nice and tall. And again, you're starting that sequential roll down from your lower back, your mid back, and you're going to the lowest point that you can hold. You will start shaking if you're using your core muscles here. You might see that with me, but you try to hold and breathe through it. If you have your hands on those points, make sure that those muscles here are engaged, as we discussed before. And come up into seated. Straighten your spine and roll down once more from your lower back, your mid back, and hold it at the point where you start to shake, using your pelvic floor and your breathing to support you. And then you're going to take about 5 breaths to roll down onto the floor. So really one vertebra at a time, trying to keep your feet on the ground. And go, and go, and go, and go. And lie on your back. Stay on your back. From here, put your heels a little bit closer towards your buttocks so you can just about reach them with your fingertips. Little trick, put your ankles together, push your big toes apart, follow through with the ankles. That's the distance of your hips, your knees, and your ankles. And you try to keep that position during the whole exercise. Now, you want to try to focus on your engagement of your abdominals with this exercise. So what you do is you breathe in and out breath. You just engage your core, put your fingers there if needed, holding that for the in-breath and out-breath. Tuck your pelvis under so that your lower back pushes into the ground, but don't lift up yet. Once you're here, you breathe in, out-breath. You clench your buttocks and you thrust your hips upwards. But the highest point of this curl up is your pubic bone. Don't let go of your pelvic tilt. Keep it tucked in. You want to almost imagine that you send your knees to the front as high as you can. So you end up in this position. What you see many people doing with a shoulder bridge or with a glute bridge is to basically just lift, but not taking care of your spine and not using your abdominals and the buttock muscles. So really thrust your hips upwards as much as you can. For most people, you'll feel even an opening through the front of your thigh. Hold it there, and on the out breath, roll down, starting from the top. The mid back touches the floor, your lower back touches the floor, your sacrum touches the floor, your pelvis touches the floor. Breathing in and out breath again. Core on, tuck your hips under, push your lower back down, thrust your hips upwards, and raise as high as you can. Check that you can move your head side to side, because most of the time you start clenching and holding on a little bit. Breathing in, out breath. Go as low as you can, like a string of pearls, threading them down to the ground. Next one, breathe in, out breath, core on. Tuck your hips under, clench your buttocks, thrust your hips upwards as high as you can. Highest position. You want to keep your pelvis horizontal, so no shifting from side to side, and also if possible, don't let it drop. In the highest position, just straighten your right leg. Most people will have dropped by now. Pull it up using your left buttock muscles, core muscles on. Hold that position, and we're going to go up and down with the leg, but just from your hip. Don't change the curl of your spine. Up and down 10 times. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fold it back in. Check your levels. Roll down once. Breathing in and out breath. Roll up all the way. Highest position again. Keep your pelvis level. Straighten your left leg and raise it up and down. Core on, hip stable, knee not shaking. You've got this. 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And foot down, roll down all the way. We'll do one more series. Tuck your pelvis in, thrust your hip upwards as high as you can. This time, raise your right leg, pointing it up towards the ceiling. Now you want to touch the ceiling 10 times. That will use your left glute strength. So lift up and lower, lift up and lower. Just a small movement. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower the leg. Stay up here. Left leg up towards the ceiling. Thrust your hips upwards and high and touch the ceiling 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put the leg down and slowly curl down. Now we'll do the total opposite of this exercise, just to open up the chest and stretch out your abdominals a little bit. So you put your arms by your side. You start again by tucking your pelvis under and thrusting your hips upwards. So it's just the opposite. For your mid back, you interlace your hands underneath your buttocks, and now you walk your shoulder blades down and together. That will make your chest pop out quite lots. Now, you want to make your chest as high and as tall as possible without opening the legs and without letting your pelvic tuck go. So squeeze your abdominals, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and hold it there. Or if your neck is okay with that, just wobble your neck left and right a few times. And you're going to roll down. We'll work a little bit on a back bend, but nobody needs to go into a complete back bend if they don't want. But it will work on your shoulder strength a bit. Make a fist. Put your fist next towards your ears. And now we do the same roll up, except that we push through with the arms. So you clench your buttocks, thrust your hips upwards, go as high as you can, and then lift up with your chest. Let your head hang through. And hold that, and go down again. We'll do that one more time. Hands next towards you. And thrust the hips upwards. Roll up and push through with your hands. Hold it there. And slowly roll down. Now, somebody has their microphone on. So if you could just switch that off, that would be amazing. While I sort this out, you do a few more roll-ups. Tuck your hips under, thrust your hips upwards as high as you can, and then slowly roll downwards. Perfect. And then put your legs straight onto the ground, and you're going to roll up into seated as well. Tuck your chin towards the chest. Round your chest and lift up without letting your legs raise. From here, those whose abdominals haven't been challenged yet, they'll join me. Those who found that already quite difficult, you're just going to do roll downs from seated and lifting up again. Those who are up for a challenge, who know how to squeeze their core muscles, what we'll do is we'll roll down, legs straight, arms behind you. So you're stretching nice and long. And what you'll do is you're going to raise both of your legs, both of your arms, and you want to find the balance in a V-sit. So it's a straight leg raise test. Use a straight leg raise using your abdominals quite a lot. So I show you once. You breathe in, out breath, squeeze your core and raise your legs and your arms at the same time, ending up in a V-sit, straightening your shoulders, and slowly roll down, arms behind you, and V-sit again, and legs down, arms down, and lift up into V-sit, and legs down, arms down, lift up into V-sit, hold it there, and again, legs down, arms down, hold it into V-sit. From here, we will do 20 leg raises. So you just start fluttering your legs up and down. Make sure your shoulders are still down and out. Check whether your core muscles are on. Work on your balance. And we go 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold in the V-sit. Put your arms to the side and to the front, and you cross your legs in front of each other. Again, 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Roll down, and we'll do 3 more roll-ups. Both arms to the back and meet in a V-sit and go back, or roll up, or meet me in a V-sit. 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and meet me lying on your back. By now you should feel the abdominals have woken up a little bit. And we'll do some single leg raises. This time we're not going to end in a V-sit. You start with both legs straight, both arms above you, and all that you do is you raise one leg up and you raise both arms with your abdominals as far as you can. Then you go up again and change leg left, go up again and right, using your abdominals to lift up your chest. Left and right and left and right. Those whose abdominals are already burning, keep at that exercise. Those who want the challenge, we're going to do that with both legs. So raise both legs, arms down. Make sure your back is not arching, your belly button is not popping down. And we go 10 more. Arms and legs, down, arms and legs. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. 3 more. 3, and 2, and 1. Hold it there. Hold it there. Slowly lower your legs down and meet me lying on your back. Roll yourself up into seated, or join me in a V-sit. From here, all you do is roll down, your leg stays up, your right leg raises up. Give it a hug for a moment. Stretch it out, your abdominals are recovering. Left hand is still hovering off the ground. Now stay here, hold the leg, hands behind your neck, and we're going to do 10 raises with the upper abdominals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch legs, give the left leg a hug. Right leg is still off the ground. Engage your core, and when you're ready, keep the left leg there, hands behind your neck, and 10 times sit up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Join me both legs. Hug both legs up. Wobble a bit from side to side. Next, you're going to use your lower abdominals to lift your pelvis just a centimeter off the couch, off the floor, as if you're lifting your toes towards the ceiling. And then we're going to do 10 straight sit-ups. Then we put the legs to the right and do 10 twisted sit-ups. And then the legs to the left. And we do 10 normal sit-ups. So whenever you're ready, engage your core, keep both of your legs there, or put them a bit lower. Hands behind your neck. Now lift your pelvis off. And 1, 2, upper body strength. 3, 4, upper abdominal strength. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then push your legs over to the right, but keeps facing straight forward. And do 10 twisted ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Legs to the left. Raise your pelvis up. Lower abdominals. Upper abdominals make a crunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold in the middle, core on, lower back, almost touching the ground. And as slow as you can, let them drop down to the floor. Don't arch your back. If anything, bend your knees. And drop them down. Walk your legs in, give your knee a hug, and shuffle from side to side a little bit. You've deserved a few breaths of rest. Then straighten out your legs, using your abdominals to roll yourself up into seated. Now, from here, jump into a normal position, hands down, jump back into a plank position, adjust your microphone if you have one, and slowly give me one push-up, one dive to the front with a back bend, and meet me in downward dog. Really still using your abdominals to hold your pelvis up nice and high. Let's work on your shoulders a little bit with a few dives to the front. So from downward dog, push yourself onto your tiptoes, dive with the head down, bum stays up, push yourself to the front, go into a back bend, and meet me in downward dog. Let me adjust my stance so I don't hit the desk. And again, dive to the front with a back bend, and lifting up, 2, and dive to the front with a back bend, lift up, 3. If it's too much for you, just hold your dog and dive to the front, back bend, lift up, 2 more, dive to the front, back bend, lift up. Last one, slow dive to the front, lowest position, hold it there, keep your core on, almost like a plank, only that you're working your shoulder as well. See if you can tuck your pelvis under a little bit more, then push to the front, go into a back bend, and meet me in downward dog. Perfect. Then raise your right leg, and we do one little abdominal series. Push to the front, touch your right elbow to the chest, to the left elbow and back. Left leg up, touch your left knee to the front, middle of your chest, and touch your right elbow. Come to the back, stretch back into downward facing dog. Then raise the right leg and step as far as you can to the front. From here, raise up, raise both of your arms up. Let's open up your left side a little bit. So walk into the lowest lunge that you can. Walk your left foot backwards as far as you can. If that's hard for you to hold, just put the knee onto the floor. But for now, try to hold it as low as you can. Now, tuck your pelvis forward, bend the right leg a little bit more. From here, your right hand just reaches down to the right, almost as if you want to touch the floor. Your left arm raises up and it reaches to your right knee, and you want to slide it down almost as if you want to touch your left or your right ankle. Join your right hand both onto the ankle, and now raise the left arm up and high and reach with the right fingers towards your toes, lunging in. Once you found that lunge, we're going to do 10 little dips. So bend your left knee so it touches the ground, but hold it there and raise up. 1, 2, that will really open up your left hip, but challenge all your stabilizing muscles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put the knee down, put your right hand onto the side and just open up to the front. Walk your right foot to the front as well and breathe. Then push yourself into a high lunge. Frame your foot with your hands. Step backwards if you can. One push-up, one dive to the front with a back bend. Meet me in downward dog. If you're not already there, from here, raise the left leg and step it towards your left fingers and come up into a high lunge, opening up the right side of your body. From here, walk your right foot backwards as far as you can. You'll see that your knee is actually coming backwards, not to the front. And from here, once you have the lowest position, you put your left hand reaching towards the left down to the floor, and your right arm reaches up and over, and both of your arms join to the front and reach towards your left ankle. Once you're there, you raise your right arm and open it up to the left. From this position, either stay there, or if you have it in you, touch the right knee towards the floor and push up. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Frame your foot, step backwards, 1 push-up, 1 dive to the front with a back bend. Hold for a breath and go into your downward facing dog. Hold it there. Let me put my microphone back in. And hold there, breathe. Lifting your buttocks as high as you can. Then raise your right leg, step to the front, come into a high lunge. This time, step a bit closer together. And from here, what you do is you straighten the front leg. Then right hand onto your pelvis, your left arm raises up, and it dives to the front onto your right knee, your right ankle, the floor, step it over to the left. And once it touches the floor, push your pelvis backwards and raise your right arm high into a twist to the right. From here, we'll do a little bit of balance work with your core muscles on. Look down towards your foot. Bend the right leg a little bit so that you can lift your left leg off. Right arm walks a bit to the front, lift off the floor, and you twist to the right. And you hold that one-legged balance. If by now your one-legged balance is very good, bend your knee, straighten your knee, bend your knee, straighten your knee, and join me for a few repetitions. Hold it for 2 more breaths. And meet me in one-legged stance, standing on your right foot only. Now, raise your left leg towards your chest and hold your big toe with your left hand and try to straighten through. Left leg, but also the right leg. Find your balance and twisting a little bit to the right. Then you bend the front leg, grab the outside of your arch, you straighten through again, and you twist to the left. Again, working your balance, opening up your buttock muscles, looking over your left shoulder, reaching to the left. Then meet me in one-leg balance. Put your hands onto the front of your chest and tip forward into what's called an aeroplane. If you can, hold it there If your legs are quite strong, open up your arms for balance, and we'll do 10 one-legged squats, elbows and knee together and apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Meet me standing on both legs and just fold to the front as far as you can. Relax your body a little bit. Then roll up into standing, and from standing you step back with your right leg into a split stance. This time your left leg straightens. From here, left hand onto your left pelvis. Right arm reaches high and reaches down the inside of your knee, your ankle, your shin, your ankle. Then the floor, put it in line with your right foot, and then open up to the left, raising your arm high, pushing your left buttocks to the back, spinning your right thigh inwards, and opening up your chest. From here, I'll talk you through the next one-legged balance. So make sure you have a stable stance on your left leg, and bend your left leg a little bit, look down towards the floor. Raise your right leg and your right arm and twist to the left, finding your balance with your breathing. If you have the capacity to still check whether your pelvic floor and your core muscles are on, put your hands there or just go by your guts and twist to the left, holding that. Then slowly meet me in one-legged balance. Your right knee, hug it towards your chest. Then take your right toe with your right hand. Try to straighten through, or whichever hold you can. Straighten your left leg. Hold it there. Then reach with your right hand towards the outside, your left hand to the right outside of your foot, and straighten it through, twisting all the way to the right, opening up your right buttock muscles. Then meet me in one-legged balance, hold it there, or hands next towards your chest, tilt forward into aeroplane position. And from here, arms to the outside, either hold it there or 10 one-legged squats, knees and elbows together. Work your shoulders as well, nice and high. And 2, 3, 4, finding your balance, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Meet me in the front and let your spine roll to the front. And slowly roll up into standing and open your stance into a split to the side. Your feet this time in line with your knees, slightly turning towards the outside. And from here, we'll go into a sumo squat. So core engaged, pelvis to the back, and hinge to the back as if you're sitting down. Don't let your knees come to the front. Hinge to the back. Reach with the arms for balance. push your knees, they'll be here to the outside with your muscles of your buttocks. And here, you can put your hands behind your neck like this for added weight, or reach to the front, or support your knees to make it easier. I'll go for the hands behind my neck, and we're going to do 20 little pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stay as you are. Push yourself to the right, straightening the left leg. Push yourself to the left, straightening the right leg. Always to the back. And we go to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, 2 more, to the left, to the right, and meet me in the middle. Walk your feet a little bit further than hips width apart. Turn them a little bit to the outside. Try to keep the whole sole of your foot on the floor as you squat down into a resting squat. So hinge from the hips and try to sit through. Try to stay on the floor as much as possible. Shift a bit side to side just to check the mobility of your hips. And hold it here. This shouldn't be too tough. If that's a tough position, you've either lost some ankle mobility, knee mobility, hip or lower back mobility. So all the exercises that we've been doing today will be good for you getting into this position. Then put your hands onto your hips and come and stand up. Walk your feet further together. And this time, raise your arms and sit back into what's called a chair pose. As low as you can, hold it there for 2 breaths. Then right hand onto your right hip, left elbow onto the right knee, interlace your fingers, and twist to the right. Working on your spinal mobility and your pelvic stability. Then fold to the front, sit back into chair pose, left hand on your left hip, right elbow onto your left knee, and twist over to the left, and twist, looking up towards the ceiling. And fold into the middle. Let your spine hang and slowly step backwards into a plank position. From the plank position, we'll do the last abdominal series. So you're going to push yourself onto your tiptoes as your right knee touches your right elbow. Come back. Right knee towards your chest and back. Right knee towards the left elbow and back. 1 more on the right. Right to right elbow, right to center, right to the left, and swap legs. Raise the left leg and turn it out. Left elbow pushing to the front, middle, and right elbow. 1 more. Left elbow, middle, and right elbow. From here, raise your right leg, step it to the front, go into a high lunge, and then put your right hand on your right hip, left elbow onto the right knee, and twist to the right. From here, put your left hand onto the floor. Go onto the outside of your left foot. Now raise your arm and raise the leg on top. Gonna end up in side plank. And from here, we do 5 little tips. Hip down, and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Fold through into downward dog. Hold that for 2 breaths. 1, 2, raise your left leg up. Step it to the front. Go into a high lunge. Lunge a bit further. Left hand on your left hip. Right elbow onto the left outside of the knee. And twist over to the left. And enjoy that stretch. Now, right hand next to your left foot. Turn onto the outside of your right foot. Both arm and left leg raise up into a side plank. And we do 5 dips. Dip down with the hip. Push through. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Fold into downward dog. And from here, go into a plank position and go onto your elbows. And start walking your feet to the front, pushing through your shoulders. You'll need lots of shoulder strength, lots of abdominal strength, but raise your pelvis as high as you can and hold it there. Few more breaths. Walk onto plank on your forearms and we'll dip to the left and right. So left hip touch the ground, raise up. Right hip touch the ground, raise up. They just touch, they don't rest. So left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. 2 more. Left and right. Hold your plank on your elbows. Shoulder stability. Push your shoulders up through your shoulder blades. Let them sink through 10 times. Push up, sink through. Push up, sink through. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slowly lower yourself onto the ground. Well done for holding this. And we'll go into the more relaxing part of this session. Walk onto your elbows, and this time try to push your chest to the front, going into a back bend, opening up your straight abdominals. Then straighten the right elbow out, so you twist a bit to the left and breathe again. This time, using your breathing to expand your rib cage. Because you're supporting your weight, you don't need to have your core muscles on. Just let your belly relax a bit. And then, left elbow straightens through, twists to the right, and relax. Then come to the middle and sit through into child's pose. All of the shoulder stability work is quite tough on your wrists. So we're going to make sure that all the muscles crossing the wrist are nice and relaxed. So for this, you will go into all fours and you're going to put your hands so that your fingers are facing outwards. And from here, all you do is you push yourself, give yourself a little bit of weight onto your arms, and then you go to the left and to the right Maybe put them a little bit closer together if that's okay for you. Left and right. I'll start with the left because it's a bit tighter. I'll hold it stretched to the left. And to the right. Then turn your hands by 45 degrees. So they are pointing backwards, but not backwards, just middle position. And again, you go side to side and a bit front, but also you sit down as if you want to sit down onto your heels. That will open up your wrist and forearm flexors quite nicely. And breathe. Then put your fingers so that they face towards you. There's no need to put the whole hands onto the ground. As long as you feel the stretch, that's totally fine. But you try to sit back in onto your heels again. That stretch would usually start at your wrist, but it would build up upwards towards your elbow as well, especially the more you push your elbows to the front. Then try to let your fingers point inwards. So you're almost touching your little fingers, your pinkies together. Push the wrists to the outside. And again, you sit backwards. And that will be quite an intense stretch through your whole forearm. Go a bit side to side. And hold. Then interlace your wrists, just shake them a bit side to side, a few circles to the right, a few circles to the left. Then with much less weight, you put the outside of your hands onto the floor, fingers pointing inwards. And again, you're going to the left and to the right. Interestingly, this is tighter on the right. So I'm going to start going to the left and feel that stretch in my right forearm. If you're working lots on the computer and with the mouse, you'll feel this stretch quite nicely as well. It's important that you don't put all your weight through your wrist in this position, just enough to keep it on the ground. And then you go to the right. And then finish off with going to the right and to the left. Next, we'll work on what's also part of your lower back stability muscles, which is your buttock muscles. So for this, you meet me just for a second to set that up in a downward facing dog. From here, you step your right foot to the middle underneath your chest. Already now, you step your left leg as far back as possible. Then you slide your right foot through your left arm, but you stay on top. Don't go down yet. Slide further back until your knee can be on the ground. If that means your knee needs to bend a bit further, that's totally fine. But don't make the mistake of folding the knee inwards. That will not end up in your hips. Keep it outwards as far as you can. And start to lower yourself down, staying on top without rolling to the side. So make your pelvis face straight forwards. If you can, toes facing upwards, you put one hand on your ankle, one hand on your knee, and just sit into that stretch. If you can, lean to the left, straightening your right elbow. And by now you should feel that quite lots in your right buttock muscles. And lean to the front as far as you feel that's okay for you. Then come up via center. Put your right hand next to your right knee. Your left armpit reaches towards your right knee. And you reach as far as you can to the right. But your right arm pushes yourself upwards into rotation. So you're combining that with a twist to the right but you try to push your right buttocks down without side bending. Push it down, but rotate to the right. And let your head hang down. Go via the center. Set it up for the other leg. So step back into downward facing dog. Step your left leg to the middle. Thread it through to the right. Your right leg goes backwards until your left knee touches the ground. Your toes point upwards. Keep on top. Don't sit down. If that means that you need to push with your hands during the stretch, that's also totally fine. Then put your right hand onto your ankle, left hand onto the knee, and lean forward to the right as far as you can. Really keeping your pelvis low, sending your sacrum down, and letting your hip rotate. Then come via the center, put your left hand next to your left knee, right armpit tries to touch your left knee, and you walk yourself to the left with your arms. Then you push your left arm into rotation of your body to the left, and twist sink to the front. Very good. Then just meet me in sitting and lie down onto your back. We'll do a little twist stretch of the front of your thigh and your hamstrings and your pelvis and your thoracic spine all together. I'll go quite slowly so you can follow me. Lie in a T shape, hands by your side, legs straight. Now raise your right knee, bend the hip, bend the knee, so that it's at 90 degrees and 90 degrees. From here, you're taking your left arm and you reach towards your right knee and you fold it over to the left until your foot hits the ground. From this position, you bend the bottom leg, which is your left, and take your right arm to hold your heel towards your buttocks. Once you're in this position, you take your left arm, slide it down your shin. If you can, grab hold of your right toe and then straighten your leg as much as you can. Doesn't need to be straight, while pulling your right ankle towards your buttocks. And the beauty of this stretch is that you're stretching your right hamstrings, your right buttock muscles, and your left flexors of your hip at the same time, but you're not extending or arching your lower back. You're only twisting through your thoracic spine. So your lower back is protected in this position, so you can really pull your heel towards your buttocks because you're putting a bit of counter tension with each side. Then come out of this position, lie on your back. This time, your left leg bends 90 and 90. You take your right hand towards your left knee and you let yourself rotate over to the right until your foot touches the ground. From here, you bend your right leg, reach towards your ankle, give it a nice pull, adjust your hips if necessary. Your right hand reaches down your shin. You can bend your knee and your hip for this to reach towards your toes. Once you have a good grip of your toe, you start straightening out the leg as far as you feel comfortable. And at the same time, pulling your heel to touch your sacrum and twist your upper back, opening up your chest with your breathing. And if you can, try to send your left pelvis, your top pelvis away, almost as if you want to pull your right side of the pelvis upwards towards your head a little bit. Give your head a little bit of rotation, right and left. That will do it some good as well. And then rest wherever it's comfortable. And then untangle yourself and meet me in a cross-legged sit. If you've been with me a few times, you'll know that once you have this position, you're going to swap over your legs so that you're not always just sitting in your customary position. From here, put your right hand down at your side, left hand down at your side as well. Your right hand walks over to the right as far as you can, but you're staying tall, you're not collapsing to the side. Left arm reaches up and reaches to the front. As it reaches to the front, your right elbow bends and you try to touch the floor with your right elbow. And every breath you dive a little bit deeper, but you try to keep both of your sitting bones even on the ground. Then straighten your right elbow and walk with your left hand through your right armpit. Once there is a little bit of a crossover of your hands, you try to exaggerate the twist. So you want to kind of push with your right arm and pull with your left arm to go a bit further into the twist. And you attempt in this position, it's not going to be a big movement, to do a little bit of a cat-cow. So tuck your chin towards you, just rounding your back, and arch your back looking up. And you round your back and arch up. And raise your left arm, reaching over as far as you can. Walk via the center and walk your left arm as far as you can to the left. Raise your right arm to the side and do a nice side stretch. Then both of your sitting bones are still on the floor or aiming to be there. Your left arm reaches to the front to touch the floor and you bend your left elbow so that you're opening up your right side. Then straighten your left arm and walk with your right hand underneath as far as you can. Make sure that your legs, that your hands are crossed in this position, and give yourself a little twist like a corkscrew, just twisting your upper back a bit more. And join me, tucking your chin in, rounding your back and looking up, arching your back a few times. Then walk your hands to the center. Go forward onto your knees, tuck your toes under, push yourself up into a forward fold. See how much mobility you've gained in this class already, and do a really slow roll up to standing. Raise your arms by your side, push your chest to the front, breathe in, and out breath, roll to the front one last time. Compare that to the range you had when you started, and you'll notice that your movement will be much more fluid. Let your arms hang right and left. Quite relax. Shake your legs if you want. And give me the last roll up of the day. Slowly tucking your pelvis under. Standing up, shoulder stacking, head nice and tall. Push your chest to the front. Deep breath in. And slowly out. And that's your class on core strength and shoulder mobility done. Obviously, we'll work the whole body in each session, but with every session, I'll try to give a bit of a focus. And I'll see you next week.